Hey guys, I'm Samson.
My name is Eakin.
My name is Alina.
My name is Gloria.
And I'm Julia.
And I am Samuel.
I'm Kian.
I'm Kane.
And we are the
99.
99.
99.
The
99. 99.
99.
99.
The 99.
99.
Hey guys, I'm Samuel.
I'm Samson.
I'm Keon.
And I'm Ta.
And
we
we
are
are
the
99.
And just a reminder, we are called the 99 to help outreach to among Christians in our community and to remind them that they aren't alone.
Alright guys, welcome to our episode. And so today our podcast is about, young men returning to church. And I know you guys probably don't know, guys, but as late of last year, there was a report that, young men are returning to church while young women are slowly leaving the church. And, this is huge, right? Because usually it's the other way around. But throughout Christianity, women has always, they've always been active than men, as we know. But men do hold higher leaderships in the church. But it's always been the women who have, attended church more than men. But, so I want to throw out, looking back at your time in church, right? Can you guys give, examples of how women have been the more religious gender?
I mean, I would like to probably state out probably the obvious in our youth group. We do have a woman as our youth president. So,
That's true. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and I believe we've been having a woman run our youth group as youth president for about 4 or 5, almost 6 years probably. So like
Something right like that.
yeah.
Anybody else?
I would say I would see a lot of well, because you're involved in a lot more like kid ministry. I'm involved in I used to be more involved in the kid ministry side of things, and so you see a lot of women, and that's where I would say I think gravitate towards. I wouldn't say that's where they belong, but yeah, I would say that's where they kind of tend to gravitate more because they tend to be more motherly, like better at caring for children, right? So, in that sense, yeah, I do see a lot more women. I think though the reason why was it like they're in the past they were more I guess religiously grounded because I think the dads are not dads but just like in men in general we get so easily distracted like if something comes up you're just like, oh dang, I gotta go fix that, I gotta do this, and you kind of just lose track of it. I think having like reason why women are they're more like what's the word, like more focused driven, like they know what they want, and so if they're going to church, they're gonna go to church, even if something like comes up a little bit like that, they're like, we'll do that, we'll finish that later. And so I think with my experience in seeing people in the past, yeah, I mean, I think for me, like Keon was saying too, like our president is a female, uh, and like that's like what's the word? Like if it was a guy, I'm not gonna like it wouldn't be as organized as it would be right now. So I think it's like part of that too, So that's all I really got to say for that topic.
Tell you anything for that?
Um, and honest truth, I believe, women are, when it comes down to like situation like this, women are, you can say they're smarter and well manageable to when situation happens. It's like, yes, as women, they may be really influenced by their emotion, but then when they start doing that, they get the job done.
Alright. Okay. Alright. So, all you guys said, women are more organized. They're more, was it smarter, right? Okay. Then, why do you guys think more girls are leaving the church while more men are returning to the church then?
This is like is this like a general question, or is this like a? Oh, I think it applies generally. My bad. I would say
Yeah.
because I think nowadays girls and it applies to like you're seeking higher education. I think that's just with the younger generation too, but especially girls. If you look at the kind of the statistics, men or boys are more likely to drop out of school or not go to college or seeking a higher education compared to the girls right now. And so I feel like they're leaving the church because they're pursuing their careers or they're trying to make a better life. And so nothing against y'all, go back, chase your bag, but like I think that's just my opinion on it. Like seeking a higher education or seeking a better career, and sometimes you can't do that where your church is. And yeah, that's what my thoughts are.
Yeah, I completely agree, because I feel like as in this day and age, I feel like women are a lot more prone to seek more a higher education, so they are more likely to venture out and try to they may not be in their home church, but they still can continue going to church wherever they plan to go to. But I think it's more prone to have more men come into the church now, because since in a sense they are lost and they don't exactly have an idea of where to go. So when coming to church, they I feel like that's where they seek help, and that's where help is found. And when they do come to church, it's kind of like a calling from them to come and just pray and seek God. And in a sense, it may or may not be their calling to be either a leader or be just to exactly what's the right word to phrase it, to do ministry exactly. But then just having them come and show up to church to understand that they need help, and they need a right structure to where to exactly follow and where to go. I feel like church is a big reason why they come to church, and why church has, or statistically speaking, why it shows that men has been coming to church a lot more.
Well, I believe society has changed a lot of this our mind as well. Because then you have to remember that we have gender equality now. Women has more opportunity to be able to achieve whatever it is that they want to achieve. It's not like how it was back then, where the woman was under the man, and the man is supposed to be the household who provides. Now it's like the woman can they can stand on their own now. And they have a lot of opportunities and a lot of things are provided for them to move up the ladder now. And so with how society is as well, I believe that women are really capable now, you know.
All right. You guys mentioned education as one of the reason, but do you guys also think like marriage, like marrying outside the church, does that play a role for women to leave the church, for leaving church? What are
Um,
your thoughts?
I would say, yeah, I think relationships, but I feel like it wouldn't just be women in this scenario, right? Um, I think I've seen like almost the opposite effect too when like a woman in the church marries someone outside. Typically, they would be the ones bringing people in, right? And so I mean, I think it goes for both ways, and I don't think it just applies to the girls. I think it also applies to the boys who are marrying outside of the church. And yeah, I agree. Like, it can affect your relationship with Christ, whether when we say marry outside of the church, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're marrying a non-Christian, but sometimes for the most case it is like that, right? Where you do marry a non-Christian and you maybe they just don't like going to church, and uh, you know you try to please your partner, so you're just like, okay, you don't want to go, then we don't have to go, and then you kind of just stop going to church. And I understand from that perspective, but like I said, I don't think it just applies to the girls. I think it also applies to the boys, and yeah.
Yeah, thoughts.
Yeah, I agree. Like, if we take a look at I guess you could say our youth now, our our youth has grown because a lot of it is because our girls have
Yeah.
has brought in their
They've been helping.
yeah,
Good job, girls.
yeah, our girls have brought in their
You know who you are.
their boyfriends into the church and has had them converted into Christianity, so I feel like it does kind of go both ways, like how Samuel said. Like, it doesn't necessarily apply to not only the girls but also the boys, like in essence, like if
We gotta pull our weight.
yeah, exactly. But yeah.
I think it just falls under who's the most dominant one, right?
Whoa.
In a sense, right? Because
Yeah.
then if you're strong-headed and you go, no, I don't want to do this, then it's
That's
either
true, that's true,
oh,
yeah.
I want to make my wife happy, so then I'm not gonna go. Or it's the other way around, where the husband goes, no, you have to come, because we're married now. You're supposed to follow the rules, where you come under my household, and then we go to church, So I think it really just depends on the situation and the people as well.
I think it should be a
To that
mutual.
point,
Yeah,
whoever
I agree.
I guess has that leadership role or a leader.
Yeah, I agree. I think it should be a mutual thing, though.
Yeah.
It should be like, I said we should go to church. We should go to church.
Anyways, all right. So moving on, right? So okay. So you guys are hearing about young men, so many young men coming back, right? So how does this make you guys feel? Seeing all these or hearing all these young men coming back to church. How does how you guys feel about this? Y'all feel excited, or you guys feel like they're coming cautious, or your feelings?
I think it's really good for them to come back,
Yeah.
but it just really depends on what the reasoning is as well.
Mhm.
But like how we always say, even if you come for the wrong reason, maybe it will turn into a right reason. I know that it's really difficult to come back. I think it's a lot easier if you have family in the church, because then you have someone to stick by, or if you know someone, then you have someone to stick by with you, But if you're coming in by yourself, it makes it hard, because then if you're not a person who's really able to open up, then you're faced with a situation where you're kind of like, oh, I'm just awkward, and I'm gonna just sit in my own little corner. I'm gonna just try to float through it, like, although I want to be here, it's kind of like, I don't know anyone. I don't have anyone to stand by me to help me out and all that stuff, to basically introduce myself to everybody and all that stuff. So I mean, it's good when we have new people, though, for us to really open up to them and make them feel comfortable, so that way when they do feel comfortable, then they have a sense of, oh, like, I want to come back, because everybody is so heartwarming, opening, that it's really easy to interact and it's really easy to fit in.
Yeah, it's like I think it should be celebrated. I think having more boys come back to the churches is I think it's a good thing, right? I mean, statistically, I think I'm not sure exactly what the number is, right? But I mean, when anyone's coming back to church, I think that's a good thing, right? If you're coming back to God, and whether, like what Tal was saying, whether it's for the right reasons, whether you're coming back to church just to get a girl or whatever, it might turn into the right reason, like Tal was saying, like, and like, you know, it kind of reminds me of the story of the prodigal son, and when the son comes back from his journey and all those things that he was doing. I think it should be celebrated, right? I don't think we should turn away people not necessarily just because their reasoning is, like, I would say wrong, but we give them a chance to learn about God and embrace and we, even if we know that's their reason for coming, like, we should use that as an opportunity to show them God. And I think regardless of like their reasoning and all that, yeah, I think just having the chance to give them the word of God and to teach them the word of God is already good. So having more people come in, having more boys come in, I think it's a good thing. I think it shows a little bit of like a turn of the generation and how the boys are back, you know.
I completely agree. Like, I feel like it, like how Sam and how Toss said, it really is a good thing, and I feel like it can go both ways. Like, it doesn't necessarily just have to be the boys, but like also girls, you know. But it is a good thing that just to have like what Sam said, have people come to church, coming back, you know, because in a sense, whether they're there for the right or wrong reasons, and like what you guys have been saying, it can turn into a good reason. And not only that, but we can not only provide and give them more insight about and the Bible, and get them closer to having a closer connection with God, but we can also help them in whatever they may be struggling in. Maybe that's why they're there. Maybe they need a sense of I guess comfort, or a belonging, because in our world and our society today, it's really hard to exactly find a group of friends or a group of people who you can exactly call home, or like you belong to, because nowadays everyone's kind of like I wouldn't say they're out for only themselves, but it's more so like people are pleasing everyone else, that we don't really see their true intentions. So I feel like once you do come to church, I feel like it's a place of it's a place of love, and that's why we should celebrate, and we should be open to whatever reasoning they may or may not have.
All right, well, how I feel, I'm glad, when I hear about this, I'm like really happy to see like all these, young men coming back, because I'm not saying that a church full of, like young women is bad, right? Because there's nothing wrong with that, right? But I'm just, like, having more young men also is a benefit too, because they help move tables, with set up chairs, or all that, right? That's the benefit of having more young men also.
So we're gonna do the heavy lifting.
Also, because I want to see more young men go with Christ. Because, like, we do need more young men in leadership.
Oh,
like,
I mean, for sure.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with women and leadership at church or in the youth group, but I'm going to say I want to see more young men, because I feel like young men we just been in, like, too scared to take up leadership. There are those young men who will step up, but then I feel like more young men are backing down when they are called to leadership because they're not like spiritually strong.
Mm.
But I feel like we're more young men coming back. Maybe we could like give them the proper training or the proper teaching all that, right?
You-
So that's how I feel.
You're gonna make him carry 6 chairs. You're gonna be just like Samson. You're gonna be just like Samson.
I mean, okay, that's how I felt. I mean, also maybe we could start like like a gym club or something. Group, young man
And
gym
then
groups.
you're gonna physically nurture them and spiritually nurture them.
But all right, so all right, moving on, right? Okay, so more young men are coming back, right? But I want. What do you guys think what was the reason why they left church in the first place?
I think a big part of it is COVID. Like, if you look at, I don't know about the statistics of that, but if you look at like all of our local churches and even our church, we lost quite a lot of people due to COVID, and since COVID happened, I guess a lot of members stopped coming, and only when we started opening up and COVID started fading, that the churches have started to, I guess, in a sense, been revived. But even then, we still see like I guess you could say a decline of I would say youth members or youth groups not showing up, and I guess you can say the same for like the men's and the women's ministry as well. Like, I feel like COVID impacted not only the church but like a lot of people in general, and that's also why like a lot of people kind of strayed away from church. Or yeah.
I would say kind of like what I was saying earlier. Like, guys tend to get distracted way easier. I'm gonna be honest. I think I would have to, like, I'm speaking from my own experience. Like, sometimes you're just doing something, regardless of what it is, like whether you're just at home laying in bed or gaming, like, and you just like, you don't want to get up, you just don't want to get up, and I don't know if that's just a guy thing. I think it's a guy thing. It might be mostly a guy thing.
Might be.
I know some girls who do it too, but we're talking about boys today. Right, so,
young men, right?
yeah, your boys, young men, whatever. I would say because I think for guys, we're a little more strong-headed and a little more was it like, no, I wouldn't. Yeah, a little more strong-headed. So when we want to do something, we're gonna do it, right? And I know a couple guys who were like, oh, I'm going fishing on Sunday. I don't care about church. I'm not gonna come to church. Or they'll go like, oh, I'm gonna go fishing and then I'll come to church later. Okay, like I'll make it to the service. And I'm not trying to say I keep attendance, but I'll look back and I'm like, dude, where you at? Where you at? So I would say, like, it kind of comes down to for the guys, like, sometimes you prioritize your own enjoyment over maybe what you actually need and what you should be going to, right?
Okay.
But I want to agree with you on that COVID thing too. I think COVID really messed it up for a lot of people, and I think it's because you build that habit of actually going to church, and then COVID happens and everybody's just like, close the churches down, like we can't be within 6 feet of each other, and we can't all be this many people in the building, and so it just became really like hard to really go to church, and so people, they turn to other things, like I said, fishing, whether it's gaming or whatever, and you start building those bad habits, and that was like a good year, no? Like lockdown was pretty long, a good year and a half roughly. So people aren't going to church every Sunday like they used to, and they build up that habit of like doing other things. And they say it takes about like a week, 2-3 weeks to build a habit. And so, I mean, we had like a year and a half of not doing like going to church, and so you build that, like I said, you build that habit of not going to church, and you're gonna do other things now.
I think it really depends on how grounded the person is as well. Because then, when, it's like if you were to, as a Christian, okay, if you were to have grown with Christ your whole life, knowing Christ, you know, I know that, as a Christian believer, we have to obey the law, right? Obey the Bible. I feel like once they hit a certain point of their life, you just want to have fun, and in a sense too, it's kind of like you don't want any restriction or anything to hold you down, because then, at some point in your life, you want to experience things, and I think, it's that's when, when people are hitting like the college age, because then they go off to college, and then usually when people go off to college, they don't really look back on Christ, because they're more focused on their careers, but then they're more focused on having fun as well, because then you're in your prime, you want to have fun, you don't want anything to hold you back and all that stuff, but then seeing as our generation today too, I think a lot of us, we really just want to have fun too, we don't really want to work, we don't really want to do certain things that we don't want to do, we wanted to just do whatever it is that makes us happy, and I think that plays a big role in our life as well, because then we're so focused on our life now. We've been focusing so much on God that we want to just focus on ourselves, and then we end up being selfish, and we have to realize that, yes, we can be selfish sometimes, but we have to remember that, we're still Christian and we should be rooted in Christ.
All right. Okay. So move on to my next question. Then is, okay, how can churches better call these young men to like leadership roles or, yeah, like growth and leadership or all that? What do you guys think? How can we as the church, call these young men to leadership roles?
I think it's kind of I wouldn't say hard, but it is complicated because it's kind of like what Todd was saying. It's where their heart lies, and if their heart isn't in it for God, then we can't exactly tell them to and do the and to try to I guess you can say choose a position or do a position if they really don't want to, So I feel like it's really complicated, but if they really are truly deeply rooted in Christ and they want to not only experience something new and something that's really, I wouldn't say dramatically changing, but like it is when you go into ministry, it is really eye-opening to what ministry can and do, not only on the outside but on the inside, spiritually, mentally, and physically. But like if they are prepared and no one really prepared us for going into ministry, so like if they're ready to take a leap of faith, then I feel like that's on them, and I feel like it can't exactly we can't really prepare anyone for that.
But in honest truth, nobody will ever be ready for anything,
True.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we weren't ready, right?
I was gonna say, I think the most you can do, and I think the best thing you can do is just help them spiritually nurture them, and because not everybody has the gift of leadership, and that's just the truth. I don't think, and not everyone's built for that leadership role, right? And so our role as a church is or as a youth group too, is to teach the word of God and to spiritually nurture them, and so that they can go out too, right? And so some people, they are meant to lead. I mean, I guess like you guys said, you might not even know until you actually do it, right? But I think it's one of those things that you can tell the characteristics of a leader before they're even a leader. I think a good leader, you can already tell, like they have that characteristic, and so I think the best we can do, and the most important thing we can do, is just spiritually nurture them, give them the water, give them the bread that they need, and like you guys said, if we can grow them spiritually and have them that spiritually strong when they're ready. Well, not necessarily ready, but when they're ready, you can put them in that, ask them to be in position, whether if they deny you or not, like at the end of the day, it's still their call, right? And I think all of us are leaders or have been leaders at some point, and so I think getting that phone call was like, oh, kind of scary. You're like, you're like, I don't know if I'm ready to be a leader. Like Tal was saying, like, will they ever be? You'll never be ready to be a leader. But it's like that leap of faith that you sometimes you're getting that phone call because you have the qualities of the leader, or we see that potential, or God has shown us the potential that you have, and so you're getting that phone call because we believe already. We believe that you will be a good leader, and so not that we're putting super high expectations on anyone, okay, but I think it's just important that if you're getting a phone call, like, you already have a quality, you already have the qualities of a leader, and we see that you are spiritually there and strong enough to be a leader and to grow together. And sometimes being leader, it even motivates you to grow more, and because you're taking on that role, and you have to, there's things that you have to do now. You're put in a position where you're like, okay, maybe you don't read the Bible too much, but now you're teaching. You're like, okay, I have to read the Bible, right? Yeah. And so I have to be knowledgeable, and that is that. And so now you're being like, okay, now I gotta get my spiritual nourishment. Like, I gotta drink my water. I gotta eat my bread, right? So I think it comes down to that too. I think the most important thing that we can do as a church or youth group is that to spiritually nurture, the sheep.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna say as well that, as you guys know, and when you come to the church and you try to be a leader, right? There's still certain requirements before you can become a leader. Like, for instance, for our church, you have to be a member for at least a year and then be baptized as well. So then, during that time, just like how Samuel said, we should take the opportunity to spiritually nurture them and see where they'll be and if they have the qualities of a leader. But at the same time too, I didn't think anybody is ever ready to be a leader. But as long as they have the heart for God, then it should be something that we look for. Because if you love God and you have a heart for God, then you're willing to learn and you're willing to do, because you love God.
Well, I just want to say, if you're a young man who's, watching this and you guys feel drifted, or you guys are doubting your walk with Christ, and you guys feel like walking away, I just want you guys to know this. God hasn't awakened you guys, but the door is always open for, you guys to come back. And the church, we don't need young men who are perfect. We just need young men who are willing and to give up their time, and who, is persistence of growing their relationship with Christ, So, I hope all these young men who are watching our episode today, get the message, learn from the message today, and, like our discussion. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our YouTube video and check out our Instagram and Facebook. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Peace out.
Bye.